Yes. What?
Using the
Yeah. So you can edit and then you can see.
so maksudnya just edit.
You highlight first.
Right?
Then edit. See.
Oh, okay.
Okay. All right. Okay. Welcome back, everyone. Okay. Now we will continue to the next. Okay. Just now we talking about the e-invoice. Okay, and I show you the most easier way. Okay, to create the e-invoice. You just click and it will submit directly, and you will get the status is valid. Okay. Now you may drag, you may reset your this one. For example, you can drag this one to the front. So next time you can be more easier to see. Okay. Okay, you can put here. Then you just save your layout. Save the layout. Okay. Now you see, I close this screen. When I open, it will remain here. Okay, it will be much more easier for you to see. No need to drag to behind there. Okay. Okay, so just now I also did one for you to see is about this after cancellation. Then you can call out and resubmit your invoice. Okay, and now let me do the same e-invoice for you to see. Excuse me. Okay, same thing. I call out this customer. I select the same item. Okay, the price, everything, and don't forget the classification code. I use this other one. I remove this one. I call this one. Okay, all this one, you can do resetting. No need every time to select. Okay, and then here you see, now you see this is the RB unit number, right? Okay, so after you submitted, here will display one. No worry. So now you see, today is 28, correct? I try to do something. Okay, I change it to 27, 26, 25th. Okay, now you see, 26, 26, 27, 28. Okay, how about 24? Okay, let us see. If let's say we start from 24 for this invoice, okay, then I do submission. The date different from today is 4 days or more. Action is not allowed. See that? Okay, so if let's say I change to 25, add one more day only. Okay, let us see. Okay, what is the difference? See, it allowed. Then 25, correct? Which one? 873, correct? 25th one. See that? So the first one. So you see, valid. Get it? So this is to prove to you that if your submission is above 3 days, 72 hours, you are not able to submit. And the submission is follow your invoice date. It's not the validation date. Understand? Okay? Yes? My Invoice portal. My Invoice portal. When you click now, it submit to My Invoice portal. This is we do submission for e-invoice. Okay, so the date and time is follow your invoice date time. Okay, let us try and see. No issue. Okay, now you see, I call, I do the same, everything are the same. Header here, take 29. Okay, the selected date and time access the current system date and time. Action is not allowed. See that? You see how intelligent our system. Okay, for other system they might not have this kind of caption, you know.
For the timing,
Ah.
the one actually for the PC timing,
Yeah.
you can do the setting, right? You can change that. But this timing is follow the RIP.
Yes. How you change this one, it won't affect this. Okay. Okay. So now we know already the submission date is follow your invoice date. Then for the cancellation one, of course, I can't prove it to you, okay, because it's follow the validation. I cannot do after the validation for you to see, right? So, okay, now at least we know already. Here is cancellation. And if you want to submit e-invoice, you can submit later. For example, now I do the same. I do the same. Okay. Now this one, when I click this one, then I click later. Okay. Or I can click no. For example, I try later first. Afterward, then we try no. Okay. Now you see, I click on the later. So when you come in here, you can see no valid one. See? It's blank one. And you can see the e-invoice type is unknown. And then no UUID. See that? Everything is nothing. Remember this one, the invoice is unknown. Okay. So now I want to submit this one. I can use this one, or I don't want to use this one. I just highlight also can. If you want to submit that particular, you can highlight. Okay. For more than one, then you have to take this one, the multi-selection. So, okay, for this one, I just click this one. I click on this one only. Okay, I click. Are you sure you want to execute e-invoice? Submit documents. For the documents, this one. Then I click yes. Successful. Okay. Then nothing here, right? Okay. Let us see here first. Still remain the same, right? Okay, we click on refresh. See? Change already. See? This one is 874. See that? You can do that also. Okay? All right. Yes?
Like this, we want to multiple
Can. If you have 100, okay, you can select just multiple. You can tick all.
and then say, and then you tick what? After we choose, tick what? Send.
You just click this one, the e-invoice here.
Okay.
The e-invoice here, it will auto submit one by one for you, even though you got 1,000 transaction, you just select all, you just click submit only, invoice, the system will submit one by one for you.
Okay, that's mean we choose no.
Ah, ah.
Not now.
Just now I choose later. In fact, you can choose also, but the purpose latest, in fact, is for the people who want to generate consolidated invoice. As you say that, if you got 100 transaction or more than that, right? And you want to submit, you want to collect the whole month transaction, then only submit once. You can do a consolidated. Okay? That's why you put later. So later, the status is unknown. The invoice type is unknown yet, right? So no valid, the status all is blank. Then after you select all, if you want to do consolidate, you have to click this one. So once you click this one, the consolidated, it will gather 100 transaction per transaction. Understand or not? Every single consolidated transaction can consist of 100 invoices. Maximum is 100 invoices. So 100 transaction per transaction for consolidate. Get the point?
I want to send by end of every day. So I use this.
Yes, you can use this. Okay? But please forget it. Don't try to do this. Okay? Not encouraged. Okay? For your case lah. For your case, better don't. Okay? Yes? Ah.
We have a list, right?
Yes.
Some of the invoice inside the list already submitted.
You can filter out what? From here.
Oh, filter on it.
Filter.
What if we mistakenly
Ah.
the submitted one?
Now this one, e-invoice consolidated or no. Okay. For example, you see, now I create another one for you to see. Okay. I put later. Okay. Another one. See, this is the real one. Okay. I click no. So inside here, obviously you can see these two, right? But now I can do a filtering. Click no. Just only these two. Then I can use this one. I can take this. See that? Just purely these two only. Okay. Then I can click consolidate. Now this one, it will come out consolidated numbering. This is not your invoice numbering. And this number will consist of that two invoices. Number. Understand or not? This one will consist of that. And then this one will have each own date and time. The date and time is different compared to your invoice date and time already. Correct? So for this case, the same 72 hours rules is follow this date and time. The submission. Then the validation also same. It's based on the submission. Okay? Validate. Get the point or not? Get So now, you see, now I don't want to do consolidate. Now I want to do invoice, can or not? Can also. Can. Then it will submit one by one for you.
I want to send by.
Now you see, for these two transactions, right? Okay, before I do anything, let us check. Just now we click later and no, right? So let us see what is the difference in between these two. Any different? No different, right? But at least we know that no is for normal invoice, that we have no intention to submit one. Later, we have intention to submit. Later, maybe it's for consolidated, right? Maybe it's for the e-invoice, because you might need approval, right? You create, then you're waiting for your senior to approve, then only you can submit. All this kind of thing. That's why you press on later. Understand or not? Okay. So now you see, says nothing different. Okay. Now you see, I do the invoice for you to see, got two transactions, I just click yes. See, it show you two transactions, right? UID and UUID for these two invoices, 875 and 876. If you got 100, it will generate 100 for you. Okay, then you close this one. Then you see nothing here, right? You just click on refresh. Why? Become nothing? Why? Yes, very smart. Don't forget that just now you filter this one. If you filter consolidated, got or not? Because you are not running consolidated. So you are running invoice, correct? Invoice. Right? You can see it, right? 875, 876. Already valid. See that? The type is invoice. Okay? Good or not? Yes? Yes. Ah. It's a cancel invoice. Only the cancel invoice, okay, it can be updated. You get my point? Now, our system show cancel means that the My Invoice portal is cancel. My Invoice portal cancel, here our system will show cancel as well. Because here the system show cancel, the answer is from them. It's the real-time one. Okay? It's not from our system automatically generate the cancel. No. This one is we read the data from My Invoice portal, there got cancel, then we get that info plug in here. They will send the info here to update our system, become cancel. Yes.
For example, we didn't update that. We just maybe running a new number. So they just become.
Yes. So that invoice number, that invoice will become as your normal invoice already. Okay. But the status there, the invoice type is still maintained as an e-invoice type. But the status is cancel. Let me show you one more. For example, this one, the first one. Okay. The first one, X71. Okay. I just click here. I do cancel. See that? But the first status is still valid. This is overall status. It got two types of status one. Okay. This one is cancel. This one is valid. Okay. Although this one valid, but this one cancel means that it's cancel. Okay. And then behind here, your type is still remain invoice. Okay, nothing changed. the UUID still remain. Everything is remain. But in fact, all this is supposed to remove, to delete, because this transaction is no longer e-invoice. Okay. But why the reason that didn't do that? Although this is no longer as an e-invoice, but the data already captured in their system. The My Invoice portal there, awak pernah ada transaction itu. Dan UUID dia sana. Dia sudah capture, itu UUID, cancel. Okay? If we say that we have to remove this UUID, in other words to say that their database have to remove the whole transaction. Correct? So as we know that whatever transaction that we make, we must have a history. So this is their history. So their history becomes our history. So that's why we cannot do anything unless here we delete. Even though we delete this transaction, they also have. They still have. Then you reuse the same invoice number, right? You generate again the invoice, they will capture. Then they will update their site also. But their site, they are not update that cancel one, you know. Cancel is cancel. Then the new one is the second. Although the same document number. Get the point? Okay. What else? Just now I want to highlight one. Okay. Now this one, after you cancel, as I say that, the only way that you can do is you can update, become e-invoice again. Don't make it as a consolidate. Okay? And for this one, if let's say you don't want, you can direct delete. Okay? You can delete and redo again. But the invoice number must be there. So you cannot to skip missing this invoice number, cannot. You must have. Yeah, I recall. Another one that I want to say is regarding the rejection. It's not you reject people, it's people reject you. Because now you are issue the e-invoice to people. So when people receive, they don't happy, they can go and reject. Okay? Now, we have to bear in mind one thing. When the time they reject, here will not update the status, become reject no. Okay? From the system, you get to know nothing. You don't know people reject. The only way that you know people reject is from the email you receive from the IRB. They will send you the email. Okay? Then when they reject, they will put a reason there also. Okay, why they reject. So when the time you receive the email, then you have to click. There got one button, the link. You click and access to your portal. Just now who showed me that one? The invoice one. You click on that link. You is it? That one. So when you log in to your portal, then you can see the transaction there, your submission. Okay, then you can see that that invoice is rejected one. Then you can click on that. You can see what is the reason. You won't see in your system here. You only can see on my portal there, because they didn't update us. They don't have such API. Okay, They didn't write that API for us. That's why our system, we cannot up to date, reject or not. And sometimes the reject, it may be temporary. Okay, the reason temporary, they just want to nego with you. Maybe your price, you wrongly type the price, or maybe you wrongly charge, or maybe you wrongly select the item, or whatever the reason, right? So they will treat it as a temporary only. So you will go in to update very soon. That's why they didn't update. I don't know lah. Okay, this is my good reason for them. Okay, but the real one is not like that. The real one is they forget to provide this API. Okay, so that's why we cannot get the latest status. Okay, now for the rejection one, after you go and see, right, they already rejected. So here is not rejected. For example, now they reject this one X76, the last one, but here still show valid. But in the my invoice portal is rejected, but here didn't reject, valid, right? Can you update or not? Can you do update? Can you edit or not? Guess? No, because it's valid. Always remember, only cancel can do edit. So in other words, to say that when you receive the email from IRB to say that somebody is reject your e-invoice, then you have to come here to do a cancellation. Get the point? And this is also the purpose of cancellation. One of it lah. Why you want to cancel it? It's because somebody reject. Because something wrong in my invoice. So I have to cancel, redo, resubmit. Get it? Yes. Huh? Can. Yes. You got a point. Now you see, you got 3 days, 72 hours to reject. You can reject many times. Okay? But all must be within 72 days. The first day, the first validation date. Okay? So I submit, you reject, submit, reject, right? Okay? Why not? Then if, let's say, after 72 hours, can you reject? No. Yes. Rejection is not allowed. Okay? Rejection and cancellation must be done within 72 hours. Okay? So after 72 hours, if you want to reject me, cannot already, you have to call me. You have to call me, discuss. Hey Wong, I want to reject this one. I want to cancel this one. No. Because the same invoice, they follow the same invoice. The first validation.
Redo the invoice.
Yes, redo the invoice.
Send back to validate.
Yes.
Then the date will be keep going up.
Yeah. People might think like that lah. But the truth is not like that.
Follow back the original.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
So that particular e-invoice that is going to take it, the same date, the 28th November?
Yes, exactly.
28th November.
The validation date, because you submit on 28. Okay. Now, unfortunately, if you are so lucky, when I do a rejection, it's your last second. Not last minute, it's your last second. Which means that you are not able to do cancel. Because already exceeds 72 hours. Which means that you cannot do cancel already. Then how are you going to update? How are you going to edit? So how? Yes, the only way is CN, credit note. Later I'll show you. You cannot reject already. You cannot cancel already because already exists 72 hours. Okay, you are so lucky lah. When the time I do reject, I'm also very lucky. Last minute I can do reject. Okay, but you are so lucky. Last minute you cannot do cancel. Okay, last minute. Now this kind of thing happens. Okay, so the only way is you have to create CN to cancel this invoice. Okay, create the new invoice for me, and then I have a new invoice. Then reject again, and then I wait until the last minute. Okay, as you say lah, I try to play around lah. I don't want to make payment, right? Last minute, last second, I wait until the last minute. Click reject. Happy. Then you send to me again. Then I cancel again. I reject again. This is the way that you can do. Get it? You can continuous. Very smart, this guy. No. I just worry about your supplier only. Later your supplier cannot get the money. He is the person who in just the last minute. This one last minute. Cancel. Reject. Always reject. Keep on delay. Okay. All right. Yes. Yes.
All of this.
Yes.
Starting from the supplier to the customer.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Enough or not? 72 hours.
Yeah, including Saturday, Sunday.
Yes. Yes. You cannot to say that Saturday, Sunday, my office is off. Okay. You close, other people no close. Okay. Yes.
For example, like if let's say we choose the monthly selection and the CIC may convert to use the feature, and then all this selection is selected, then they put it any video pop up informing.
Yes. Only those not yet submit one will do submission. Then already submitted one, it will skip. It will highlight to you. It will not going to do duplicate one.
And then another thing is for the cancellation reason. We can put any reason or there's a specific reason so that can.
Okay, very good question. So, what reason that you intended to put?
For example,
normally,
maybe customer want to change the product, want to change the price and so on. Is it acceptable for them? Or there's specific solid reason that we need to put?
Yeah. Now you see, of course, the reason they are not so, how to say that, they don't have a standard answer. Okay, that you need to put in this way or in that way. No. But as you mentioned that, the reason is very important. In the future, if the tax department come to you, they want to know that why you cancel, right? You can now simply put, because I just play only. Okay, I sure, I sure cannot lah. I willing to cancel cannot lah. You can write anything there. You can write nonsense there. But in the future, if you still remember what happens, then okay, then fine, then you can answer. Otherwise, then you come, you see, then you'll feel funny also. What happens? Why I cancel? If you cannot answer, then you got problem. They will add back lah. They will add back. Okay. Yeah, for audit purposes. For audit purposes. Yeah. The tax audit is not for your company audit purposes. It's the tax department. HDN come audit, they want to ask you. Is that tax department. Okay. Now we are very clear about this, right? Okay. In fact, I supposed to show you about this so-called the consolidated one. But because of your scenario, you no need to do consolidated, so I skip that. Do you want me to skip or not? Skip lah, because since you no need.
If we can do, it is very important, but we cannot do this one. Yeah, please skip. It's okay,
Okay, better lah. Yeah, better don't get confused, because just now got people ask me already. You want to take for all one shot, that pretty woman.
But we have to. It is important to know.
Yeah.
We got the consolidated.
Okay. Now you see, for the e-invoice part, I just recap. You can direct submit immediately. Okay. When the time you add new save, you can click on the now. It will direct submit for the e-invoice. Okay. Or you can click later. Then under the list, you can click the e-invoice submit later. Okay. But for whatever method, you have to ensure that the date is the major concern. It must be within 72 hours from your invoice date and time. Okay, this is for the submission. Okay, now beside the now and the later button, you can click no as well. Okay, so these three buttons we already understand. Now after the submission, what else you can do? You can do a cancellation. You are not doing rejection. You are doing cancellation only for your e-invoice. Rejection is your customer responsibility. Okay, it's not your side. All right. So after you do a cancellation, then you can edit, update, and resubmit for e-invoice only, not for other than e-invoice types. Okay. Then after cancellation, you got second option is delete the whole transaction. Okay. Now the cancellation is allow you first option to edit and update and do resubmission. Second option is for you to delete the whole transaction and redo. You must reuse the invoice number. Cannot miss out the invoice number. Your invoice number must be in sequence. Right? So, the cancellation is for these two purposes. Now, the cancellation cannot be done if after 72 hours. It cannot be done. Okay? Cannot be performed. Then, the only way is you have to generate credit note to write off your invoice, your e-invoice, your submitted e-invoice. Understand? Get the things, huh? Understand? Is that clear? Any problem for submission of e-invoice? Now this part you must 100% sure. Okay, now when we understand this part, before we go further to CN, the credit note, okay, let us talk more about the e-invoice knowledge. Okay, in what circumstances or in what scenario you are allowed to issue e-invoice, or in what circumstances that you are not allowed to issue e-invoice. As we mentioned earlier, only sales that you need to prove of your income, for that kind of scenario, you are allowed to generate e-invoice. Other than that, no. Okay, like for example, you want to make claim with third party, you want to issue invoice to them, you are not allowed to issue e-invoice, but you still allowed to do normal invoice for the third party to make claims, because that one is not your sales. That one you no need to prove of income. Understand or not? Get the point, huh? Very clear, right? For the invoice side. Any question? Make sure that you got no question, huh? One time off. No question, huh? Okay. Now, if you don't have any question on this, then we go to the next. Is the credit note. Okay. Now, when only you are allowed to do credit note? After 72 hours, correct? Then what about within 72 hours? Are you allowed to do that? No need. Okay. If you need it, then how? Uh-huh. Wait until 72 hours. Okay, in fact, no need. You can still do the credit note immediately before you wait for 72 hours. All right. Correct. You can do credit note at any time, within 72 hours or after 72 hours. No issue. But the reason, we have to understand why you want to do the credit note, right? Is it beside the credit note, you have no other ways to do? Get my point? Unless you really have no other option, you must do credit note. Then only you issue credit note, right? This is doesn't matter of the period of time. Not relevant to the period of time. It's relevant to the reason why you want to generate the CN. Since you are allowed to update your invoice, you are allowed to edit, you are allowed to resubmit your invoice, why you want to generate the CN, right? Okay, let me share with you one important thing. Normally, for most international company, okay, they are not allowed their staff to edit or update invoices. Once you generate your invoice, it's fixed already. Whether it is correct or wrong, if you want to edit or update or change anything, the only way is CN. because they want to keep the original history, the original record. Otherwise, your staff will simply change your invoice. 100,000 become 10,000. Then 90,000 they go into pocket. You get my point or not? A lot of people doing this. One of my customer already now. He got this thing happens. He lost 1.5 million. His staff under table. Changed the bill. He lost 1.5 million. Now still under the court case. He sued the this one, his staff. Huh? Sure win what? But this one is under the silver case or not the silver case. This one is criminal case already. Criminal case already. Okay, criminal case already. So this thing, that's why I say that we have to understand the fundamental or the reason why you want to issue CN. Right? The CN, if let's say can, we try to avoid. Okay? Not to say that to avoid not to issue. Okay? We try to avoid not to edit or update the invoice. But we have to make use of the CN. Then people won't simply change the things. Then you can see that why the original is 100,000, why you create CN of 90,000 and become outstanding 10,000. Then you can trace easily from the system, which means that every step that you step out, it got history there, it got record there. You cannot simply delete it or remove it from your system. Okay, now the e-invoice allow you to do cancellation, edit, update within 72 hours. Actually, they are very good already. 72 hours, right? In fact, it's not allowed to do that. Anything you want to change your invoice, you have to use CN. That's why they limit 72 hours. In fact, for me, even 72 hours also cannot. Right? This is the proper method lah. We manage a company, we want to know the history, we want to know everything, every step. If you simply change, update the invoice, you have no idea already. Right? You lost already. You lost already. Because that, after change one, that invoice will become the original invoice. But the actual original is not that figure or not that kind of things. Get the point? Seems like I'm not talking about the e-invoice. I'm talking about the management. Okay. Yes. Yes.
For the e-Invoice, they allow the cancellation, but it depends on the company policy.
Yes.
They want to do the cancellation.
Yes.
Or do the
Yes. Everything is depends on the policy.
So governance, we have to consider about the governance separately.
Yeah. So the company policy is very important. Okay. So now if you want to issue credit note for this moment, it's no issue. You can do it anytime. Anytime you can do it. All right. Now one thing we have to understand is, just now we mentioned, when you generate your CN credit note, the credit note must match with your invoice. Okay, you cannot simply generate a CN without invoice, without matching with the invoice. Cannot. Okay, so in this scenario, you have no choice. You must call out from your invoice. Okay, so how we do that? Okay, let me show you. Same thing. This is the customer that just now we are applying, right? So you call out this customer, then you call out from the outstanding. Excuse me, outstanding sales invoice. See that? Don't choose other things. It's the sales invoice. Okay, you can filter out the date. So now you can see from here, this is 871, 872, 74, 75, 76, right? So you do have all these invoices. You can call out. Okay, for example, I call out this one, 876, the latest one. I just click use only. Okay, now before I call out, in fact here, hey, sorry. In fact here, I can see the status one, but here didn't show the status because my version is outdated a bit. Let me update this. Just a minute Let me try to update the latest version. Let's see. We always improve our system. Okay, for people easy to read, to study, get to know. Now, just a minute Okay. The sales CN. Okay, we call out the customer, this customer, from the outstanding list here. So let us check and see that whether we can see the status or not. You can see that no. Okay. I do not have supposed to have this. Oh, sorry, do not have yet. Okay, never mind. So we just simply call this one. Okay, once we call out from the list, okay, now you can see from here, this is the invoice number, right? Do you see this one? This is the IRB. Just now we mentioned about the UUIB number, the UI number. Okay, so and what else? Let me see whether here got. Okay, here don't have. Never mind. So at least we know about this one, the UUID. Where is good? Okay, I put in front here. Okay, this is the number, very important. That this is the invoice number, your e-invoice number. But this is not your internal e-invoice number. This is the IRB invoice number. Okay. Now, what about the invoice number? Now you call out from the invoice, right? You may call out more than one invoice. Correct? It could be, right? So how? If according to the IRB, their intention is 1 CN versus 1 invoice. So if you got 10, then you have to create 10 CN. According to their intention is like that. Okay? Now why I say that, in fact, in the guideline, never mention about this issue. Okay? Just the person, the speaker, the interpreter, they interpret in this way. 1 CN versus 1 invoice. But there's no such thing. Because according to their programming, the SML coding is allowed to do that for multiple invoices. You can call out multiple invoices. Okay. However, why the interpreter, the speaker, other people say that 1 invoice versus 1 CN is because if you refer back to their this what they call the CN format, the CN format. Let me show you the CN format. The CN format here. Let me see whether here got or not. Now you see the format here. Okay. Do you see this? You see this one? Okay. Okay, now you see, they refer to here. They refer to here. If you put under the header, you are only able to insert one number in. If you got 2, 3, 4, how are you going to insert? From here, they interpret that 1 CN versus 1 invoice. Because you only can display one, right? But according to the coding, to the programming coding, it is not. Okay, you can display here. You no need to put under header. You can put under here. Okay, you can put anywhere because it's allowed for multiple. So if you want to display in multiple, the only way is here only, right? By row. This is the only way. But you can see down the road, nobody do that. Every people follow like this. You can go and check. All the systems are like that. Except e.com. We allow you to do multiple. Okay, let me show you and I print out for you to see. Now you see, now I call out 1, right? I can call out this 3. I call out 3 for you to see. Okay, I got multiple, correct? So same thing, I just add new only. Now, okay, okay, successful. Then I go to the list. Let me see, this is the CN. Okay, so what is the status? In progress, submitted. So meaning that we cannot do anything yet. You are not allowed to send this credit note to your customer yet. Okay, we have to wait. We have to wait. I can't do anything also, you see. Okay, you need to take sometimes. You need to take sometimes, really one. Okay. Okay, valid already. Okay, now after valid, then we go to print out. Okay, invoice format. This is our standard format. Okay, Can you see that? Multiple one. See that? So you see the UUID number? If this UUID you put on top here, how are you going to display? Right? And then for the CN itself, it got own UUID as well, right? Every transaction you will have your own UUID. So the own UUID we put downstairs. Because it's too long already, you see? It's too long already. You are unable to display here. See that? This is the format. This is the format that we display here. See? Okay. Now you see, your CN must match with the UUID. Must match with your UUID. Okay? Get the point? You cannot simply match. Now here, got another things that nobody knows. What is the thing? Example. Of course, for your case, it's much more easier. Why we say that? Because you are generate e-invoice only. You do not have the consolidated invoice. Okay? If you do have, for other people, they have two types. They can do consolidated, they can do invoice, right? Now, if they got these two types, when you come to CN, the CN have to follow accordingly. How to follow? If you generate e-invoice, you come to CN, the CN you must generate as e-invoice as well. You cannot say that your invoice is e-invoice, but the CN you do consolidated CN. Cannot. Not allowed. Okay? And if you do consolidated e-invoice, when you come to CN, you cannot do CN. You must do consolidated CN. See that? This thing nobody tell you. It must be matched. Now, do you know why? The reason, for example, if you do consolidated e-invoice, which means that the name, the TIN number, all are different already, right? Then when you create the CN you suppose after you create, you have to send to your customer, right? But if you do the consolidated e-invoice already, your CN, which one that you want to send? Cannot, right? Because the name is general public. Who do you want to send? The TIN number is general public TIN number, EI10. So which means that your CN also must follow like that. Because you don't know which one to send already. You get my point or not? This one is very important. Okay? So if they do e-invoice, then you have to e-invoice CN. Okay? You cannot do consolidated. Because you do consolidated, your CN, how to submit for that customer. Get my point? This is the issue. Understand or not? This is the real scenario. The real scenario. But for your case, you are lucky. You just only do e-invoice. So you won't have this kind of things happen. So when you come to CN, remember, don't click consolidate CN. Okay? But even though you click consolidate also, we are not allowed also. The system won't allow you to do that also.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So our price for the consolidation, it was rejected automatically.
Yes. Yes. Now you see, whatever I tell you, we already do the checking. The system will control. Okay? If not, then you use the system for what? Right? The system cannot help you. So this is the purpose of using the system. The system must be able to assist you to avoid all this human error. Understand or not? So I just tell you only. You no need to worry. Even though you wrongly select, you wrongly click, no worry. System will know. Okay? We already prevent all these things happens. We'll do a checking. Okay? But no worry. So intelligent, huh? Okay. Now CN, we consider already finished. So simple, so easy, just like that only. Okay? Now make sure that you must match with the invoice. Okay? And just now I forgot to show you the e-invoice format, correct? Since we generate so many, so let us see the e-invoice format. Okay. This is the e-invoice format. Wait a minute, let me see. Okay. Can you see that? You see, this is your company. Your format, you must display your name definitely, your address, okay, your contact number, your email, okay, and don't forget that you have to display your TIN number, your BRN number, your SST number, okay. This one is for the travel one, okay, no need to worry. This is your MSIC. You have to display, and also the QR code. This is a must. And your customer, you bill to your customer, you must have customer name, customer TIN number, see that? Customer BRN, customer SST as well. Address, all this must appear here, must display here. You cannot to say that like currently just company name, address, contact, that's it. No. All their TIN number, their BRN, their SST, all must display. The recipient also same. The name, okay, the person received TIN number, BRN, and their address. Okay, all this must display accordingly. Okay, and this is normal. Your invoice, your date, okay. Currency must display as well. Okay, you are not under the billing period, this one no need. Okay, FOB, this one they want you to display as well. Then the term, everything. Now, here, this one is classification. Even though you see we cannot put in full. Okay, this one is too long already. This is a must. All the invoice must have this classification code for every single item accordingly. Okay, this item code, this classification code. Okay, another item, another classification. Okay, every item must have. So must display, not only have, must display. Okay, and your SST quantity, all this. This is the minimum requirements that you need to show. In fact, their requirements is more than this. But because of our invoice, you cannot put all. Okay. You see, even the sales tariff code, right? It's supposed to be one of the column. But we cannot insert already. We have to put under the description below here. Okay. And also whatever we have, we need to put under there. Okay. It's too many, the requirements. And this is the invoice number. IRB invoice number. You see? So long. So until we cannot put here. In fact, we're supposed to put here. Okay, but we cannot. We must put here. Okay, now date and time validate. Okay. And then this is the invoice. Every invoice got type 1. Okay, CN is CN type. Okay, invoice is invoice type. Version is different. Okay, it's supposed to show 1.0. Okay, it do have 1.1 also. 1.1 is for the digital certificate one, digital signature one. Okay, if you do have the digital signature, your signature will show out here. Okay, now here this one, this two row may not enough to display all. You know the format of digital signature. Let me show you the format. How is the format? Now, this is the digital signature format. Okay, it's very super long, super long. Okay, so how are we going to display here? I also don't know. Okay, I give you okay, never mind. At least I show you just now that one. Okay, that one is the format is like that one. It's very long one. Okay, so at least you understand that here is not enough to cover the whole signature data. Okay, you may just display part only. Okay, so now from here you can see that this is a very funny request from the LHDN, right? Why you want to show this one? I also don't know. Maybe they just want to get people know that this one, this invoice is with digital signature certified one, right? But the thing is you are unable to display because you still got so many things to do, and some more that this is a compulsory. This format is compulsory. Not only here display, not only upper here they want you to summarize, to do a grouping, different kind of text. They want to do that. So you can see that we already fully make use of the footer. It's already considered no space already, unless you use 2 pages. For one item, you generate 2 pages. It's very funny. This is all the cost, right? The time consuming, the cost consuming, right? So make no sense lah. So that's why we try to squeeze all into 1 pages only. Okay. Yes.
The real one for the digital signature will just show partly.
Just show partly only. Definitely you cannot show habis. Unless you don't want this one. Okay. But for sure that we need this one. Correct? We need that one. That one is more important than that. That one is for the collection purpose. Yeah, you see. Okay, so at least we understand already. This is the scenario. Okay, now after the CN is very simple, right? We just call out from the outstanding. Okay, now one thing, remember, the invoice, if still under in progress and submitted, are you able to call out? No, it's only the valid you can call out. Make sense lah? Okay, is it make sense? Is it make sense? Make sense, correct, okay, okay, okay. Some people will think that if I want to cancel because I wait so long already, still in progress, I don't want this one, then my company policy is not allow me to delete or to edit, to update, to do anything. I need to issue CN. Then how? Wait lah. Continue wait.
It's our company policy.
And then how? If your company policy is not allow you to delete the invoice, okay, you must do the CN. But the issue is your invoice is still in progress. The status, still in progress. You wait a few hours already. Maybe you wait one day already. Why? How come still in progress? Right? For sure got something wrong. So you're not going to continue wait. You want to redo, right? Of course, you can direct delete. Okay? Delete or cancel, delete, right? But your company policy not allow you to do that. You must issue CN. Then if the CN is not allow you to do, then how? You have some conflict already, right? Yeah. Never mind, we can discuss later. If you really have this kind of scenario, talk to me. We can open for you. Yeah.
While we're waiting for the validation, and we issue the CN. At the end, the invoice we submitted is invalid. So the CN also.
You're supposed to able to do the CN or the cancellation, right? For those invalid one, you can do cancellation. You can delete. Okay. Just only for the valid one, you cannot delete. You must do cancellation. Okay. You can delete one. Can. In progress, you also can delete. You also can delete. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Understand? This is the real scenario. CN, you want to create CN, you may have the status is in progress or whatever, or invalid, everything, right? So now, currently, our CN is allowed. You can see from the outstanding, the data there, even in progress, you still can see that you can call out to do CN. Okay? And but we will control. We have the control. Okay? We will control that only valid one will display. Okay? But as you say that sometimes for certain circumstances, I still need to do that. Then we will open back for you. Special case, because we don't want to confuse, people may wrongly select. Then you will have a big issue. Okay, next is the debit note. Okay. The debit note also same. You just call out, and then you must call out from the outstanding. Okay. For example, I call out this one. All right. So this one, 1890, I just change to 20. Then I just click this one. I just submit. Okay. It's very simple, right? Okay. Now here, I need to explain something for you to understand. Our current practice, you can create debit note at any time, right? You no need to call out from your invoice. Okay? You can issue debit note independently or separately, correct? But upon implementing of e-invoice, you are not allowed to do that. Okay? Debit note must call out from your invoice, similar to your CN. It must have the invoice UUID. In other words, to say that you cannot simply create debit note again. And when the time you create debit note, you must have a reason why you want to create debit note. Is because of your invoice got something error, because you are underquote your customer. Okay, you are not overquote. Overquote is CN. So underquote, now you want to add more, you want to charge more. Okay, so you don't want to change your invoice, or your invoice already after 72 hours that you have no choice, you cannot cancel, right? You cannot update. So the only way is you don't want to create another invoice. Okay, so you have to issue debit note for that scenario. Okay, to how to say that, to top up the figure. Let's say previously the invoice you charge people is 100, but the correct one, it should be 150. Okay, you miss out 50 ringgit. So now you issue another debit note to update, you just put 50 ringgit. You call out that invoice, that item. It must link to that item. Okay? If you didn't call out, listen carefully. If you didn't call out from the invoice, your debit note cannot display the item. Because if you call again the item, which means that your item will out again. You will double out already. Invoice out one time, debit note out one time. Wrong. So you have to call out from your invoice. Once you call out from your invoice, the debit note, it will not deduct your stock again. Understand? You just capture the figure 50 ringgit, increase the sales, increase the outstanding of your customer, the trade debtor figure. Understand or not? Get the point? So you must attach, link, match with your invoice. You cannot separately create the debit note for no reason. Okay, another issue, another thing is what? Maybe you will say that, oh, this is not related to my items. This is related to additional charges. For example, that I forgot to charge transport charges. Now I want to charge them. Okay, so transport charges, okay, listen carefully. Got two different type of transport charges. One is if these transport charges will make an income for you, then this is a sales, right? This is a sales. You have two ways to do. You can issue e-invoice again, because this is your sales. You generate income from the transport charges. Okay, or you can generate debit note. Okay, but the debit note, you have to call out the invoice as well. Okay, but how you going to call out this one? You still have to call out that item, right? One of the items. Or if let's say you don't have the item, then how? How are you going to call out? No, what I mean is you are not changing the item. You are not supposed to call the item out. Correct? But you need the invoice number, correct? You need the invoice number. Okay, so basically, you have no choice. You must call out from the invoice, call out the item. Okay, don't worry, because as I say that the item will not deduct. The stock will not deduct. You can just change your description. Change your description, put that this is a transport charges. Put the amount. Understand? Get the point? And later I'll show you again. Okay, how you do it. Okay, because when you call out the item, call out from the invoice, it will capture the invoice UUID. Understand or not? Get the point, huh? Okay, if you didn't call out from the invoice, here you cannot insert the UUID. You don't have the UUID to display. Understand or not? Okay, so just now I mentioned is about the transport charges is a kind of income.
Including the sales.
It should include under your sales. Then you can generate e-invoice. But what about if the transport charges is a kind of expenses? Just claim. People charge you 100. You pay on behalf. Now you want to claim back. This is a kind of claim. Right? So you still can issue invoice, but it's a normal invoice. No longer e-invoice. Okay? If you don't want to issue invoice, you can issue debit note. Correct? But remember, the debit note, you cannot submit for the invoice credit note. Yeah, it's a normal one. Understand?
Okay.
Get the point or not?
Okay.
Don't confuse, Don't confuse, Now you see, for the e-invoice, all must be relevant to your sales one. Debit note must relevant to your sales. Then only you can submit for the e-invoice debit note. If nothing related to your sales one, you are not allowed to submit. Understand or not?
For example, higher lah than what we absorb from our customers. So when we want to generate that e-invoice, the transport item is not enough to be there.
It's supposed not to be there. Because this is not a kind of sales, a kind of income. It has, yes. Yes. If you put under the same invoice, it will become your sales already.
Actually, it depends on the sales condition. Sales condition, our sales condition is delivered, so the transport charge should be included in sales, under sales. On the other hand, e-Invoice condition. In this case, transportation cost is exclusive.
Yes, exclude.
Yeah.
Must exclude from your invoice.
Yes.
Yes. You have to exclude. Yeah, reimbursement. You got a point, reimbursement.
Now our transport charges is included in our sales.
So it cannot. Because if you include under your e-invoice, it will become your sales.
Yes.
When they calculate, they will treat it as your sales, your income already. Okay? But this is not your sales. This is not your income. This is your expenses. Yes?
But they say the unit price, even with the example,
Ah,
70-80 cents,
ah,
then the plus on the date, which is 8 to 80 cents.
ah,
It is already included.
Ah.
This in the invoice, it stated that we just item code, the item price is already included in transfer charges.
Ah.
You won't add on another
Ah.
column. Only one column.
Similarly to your case, can if you do that, your transport charges become your sales already, lor.
Product item, yeah, product item plus transportation cost is possible.
This is not good to you, lah. Not good to you, lah. You have to separate it out. Separate it out. Don't treat as your sales, so you can reduce your sales figure. And this is actually is not your sales as well. Now you see, audit and the e-invoicing, as I told you before, is totally different things, right? For the audit, they don't care. You separate out, they will consider as a collection as well. You can put under the sales, whatever. But for the tax, for the tax, when they come, they will not look at your this one. They look at your e-invoice. They follow your e-invoice. Whatever you submit one, then yes. Yeah, different. The best is, of course, if the transport charges is not a kind of income, better don't put under the category of sales. Put under direct the expenses. You can write off. It's just a debit and credit side only. Understand or not? You credit first. Because you bill to people, you credit the transport charges. Okay? Yeah. So when you receive your debit, it will write off, become zero. Become zero. Yes. As I say, the first thing you have to define first is a kind of income or not. You have to define first. Okay? If a income, then invoice. You cannot to say that, oh, this is income, then I separate it out. I don't want to take into invoice. I cannot. That one you can now teruk.
So before the invoice, we have to define.
You have to decide first.
Income as inclusive or exclusive.
No, is you got any earning or not? Any profit from the transport or not? If you got profit, means that this is your sales. This is your income. If you got no profit, means that this is a kind of claim only. Like what you say that this is a kind of reimbursement. Okay, sometimes something is disbursement. Like for example, the lawyer, the legal. Okay, the lawyer, when they issue you the bill, okay, they will include the disbursement. Not to say lawyer lah, even your auditor, right? They issue you invoice. Normally they will include the disbursement, the printing cost, whatever, blah blah blah, right? A lot of this disbursement. Now, upon implementation of e-invoice, this one is not allowed to include into the invoice.
So it's kind of the contract terms and conditions.
So you have to understand, this is, okay, now we're talking about the disbursement and the reimbursement. For these two scenarios, you are not allowed to create any e-invoice because this is not your sales. This is not your income.
For instance, now we are issuing this debit note for the back charge of transportation. So that is after implementing the
invoice.
No, we don't issue the invoice. Just all the normal discount. Okay, let's discuss it. It's a kind of the size fee.
Is your income or not? Income then invoice. You have to generate invoice. It's very simple only. If income, then invoice. If not income, normal invoice. You got two types of invoice.
For the bookkeeping, we have to separate.
For bookkeeping, normal invoice.
It's just for other income.
Okay, income, e-invoice. Not income, normal invoice. We doesn't care. Okay, as long as it is a kind of income. Now, even though you are selling your absent, your fixed asset, you're selling. Now you make profit. This is your income.
Yes.
Then e-invoice.
E-invoice.
E-invoice. No profit, no need.
Even the same, the same as the book value, so we have to issue.
Simple. That's why I say that we have to understand the logic first of the e-invoice. The purposes of the e-invoice is for your income. They want to capture your income, your sales. Okay? If this is not a sale, don't create e-invoice. And a lot of people make mistake is this part. Claim also invoice, not claim also invoice, everything, whatever, all invoice. They worry. They don't know, right?
Also for our situation now, so let's say we have sell our products. Okay, the current practice is transportation cost, let's say 200. In one invoice, we show 1,000 and 200. Right? So in our GL, 1,000 is sales revenue.
Okay.
200 we will be offset against the transport expenses.
Yes.
Okay, so current practice is one invoice.
Yes.
Later when we shift to e-invoice, we can split into two.
Yes. Because you cannot put under the same invoice. Because the same invoice, it will submit directly already.
So
You become 1,200 already. No.
Any other simplify
Simplify. Okay, good idea. Let me make an appointment with our Prime Minister Anwar first. And I will talk to him. Okay, I'll bring out this issue that this is from Denka.
How to manage?
Yes.
Our invoice to commercial invoice to customer should be separate.
Last time now is one invoice fee already. But maybe later have to be like
two invoices.
One is e-invoice, one is normal.
Yes.
Normal invoice.
If that transport is not income,
Not income.
not income, then you have to separate.
So we need to have two different running numbers.
Yes. Exactly.
How they will trace it? How to make between these two invoices?
No. Under your e-accounting, you still, all this will put under the same debtor. Under the same debtor, you will see two invoices. Can. When the customer make payment, you can match these two invoices. No problem. Just you addition workload only. See, two invoices. Then the customer will query you, why two invoices? Why like that? Then you have to explain. After you explain, some people not understand. Are you sure? Why like that? Right?
So, our normal invoice will include the transport charge, but the invoice will have to generate two.
No.
Invoice one.
Very complicated. If you really understand, it won't be so complicated.
I learned the actual practice of the other company. But maybe this situation is very popular. So product price and the transportation cost separately, but we invoice together to the customer. It's a quite normal operation. To the money.
What? Yes, yes. Yes. You have no choice. In fact, if you ask the IRB, they ask you, no need, just for the one invoice will do. And then for that one, the transport charges, no need. You just take the bill to prove that you pay this payment, pay to the person only. Then you lagi teruk, because in your accounting you have no record at all. Yes, even though you pass the official receipt to your customer to claim the money, after you send them the official receipt, you have no record already, and then they won't record also. Then at the end that they got no record, you got no record. Then you forgot, they forgot, and then okay, bye-bye. Yeah, this is not the correct way. If we follow their way, the IRB way is this way, then you die. Then you die, correct? Just now I show you already. The supplier too, right? Cannot issue even the additional invoice. No. You only can prove them your official receipt only. They ask you don't do the another invoice again. So they never think about the accounting side. No. Because they stand at their point of view in invoice. They never stand in the audit, accounting, the internal, the collection, all these kind of things. Right? So you must know. We cannot just simply follow the guideline like that. What they say you follow, then you die very quick. Oh. You die immediately. Oh. Don't think about it. Don't even think about it.
We cannot expect so much.
Anyway,
let's discuss separately. I recognize this issue.
谢谢你，谢谢你，Thank you.
So first come first, first come first, we assume that you know, you just throw everything as an e-invoice. What will be the implication?
As I say, they will treat it as your income, as your sales. Then when they come, they inspect your audit report. Hey, why you didn't classify under the sales? And you try to skip, you try to run the sales figure, try to reduce your sales figure, right? You submit for me, this is the sales figure 1,002, but your sales under your audit is 1,000 only. Where's the 200? One transaction 200. 1,000 transaction is how much already?
I prove that I can with my
Yeah, of course you can prove whatever. Okay, they will accept you, but whether they accept or not, it depends on them. It's their right, and you yourself make it complicated to yourself, right? You make it troublesome to your own self. The first thing is you have to answer them, and then you have to recall back, and don't forget that they are not come on tomorrow after you submit. They will come few years later, before 7 years. And then you may not no longer in Denka, just like Mr. Tang, no longer in Denka. And then the person in charge, Mr. Wilson, will die already. What happens? I also don't know how to answer. You get my point? So you make yourself troublesome. And then you make company troublesome also. Trouble also, right? Then the company will Loss. Company have to pay. If company cannot answer, then company have to pay. They will add back that 200. That is your sales. 200 is your profit. One transaction, 200, 1,000 transaction, 10,000 transaction. Then how? Then the company cry already. So the company say that whether I want to set Wilson or not.
I can tell myself.
So get the point or not? You can do whatever you want, but the consequences, we have to think about it. Okay, in the future, the consequences. How is the consequences? Okay, you may think easy because you are thinking of current situation, but few years later, not to say few years, a few months later, even we also forgot already, right? We forgot already. Hey, what's going on now? For that transaction, what I do like that now? Then you got big problem already. Some more that you have to waste your time. Don't forget that time is money. Company pay you not for this. Then now you use the company salary to do all this kind, not production one, right? You go and do checking for 1 whole month because just to answer the IRB, right? This is not the correct way. That's why I say that better we do it right at the first place. I don't like, actually for me, we are, my background, right? I really hate to trace one, I really hate that. Of course, I can trace most of the time. A lot of my customer, they make mistake and then they don't know what their mistake. Then they have no choice. They have to call me. Then I have to trace for them. Why like that? Why like that? Correct? You guys also got this kind of thing. I know that. Always call us one, okay? Tony help you to solve the things. Yeah. We hate to do that. Because why? It will lose a lot of time. Because that time we can produce a lot of things. We can do some more valuable one. Right? So that's why I always mention, keep on mention that if you got no 100% sure guarantee that you know how to do that transaction, even though you have confidence 99.99 confidence already, please don't do it. Okay, please don't do it. Ask. You can WhatsApp me, ask me, hey Wong, how to do this transaction, how to do that transaction. This is my duty. If you don't want to make use of it, then for me, I'll be more than happy that you don't call me. Okay, you get my point? But to solve our problem, make it easier, the better way is you WhatsApp me. Let me answer you. Then only you go and do. Because when the time I answer you, I will give you 100%, more than 100% correct one. You do it, definitely 100% correct. No worry. So every transaction, every movement is correct one. This is, our service is like that. Just like today, you see, all the way from Penang to here, just to give you a training for this e-invoice that I hope that you can understand and really understand, really very clear. Don't make mistake. E-invoice is very simple. If you know the logic, as I say that, right? Income, invoice. Not income, no invoice. Simple. Income, invoice. No income, not income, no invoice. Then if you want to keep record, then normal invoice. Understand? So your real scenario is you have to separate the two bills.
But how to manage?
So it's totally different, After you hear from today meeting, then you blur already. You start worry already. The next 7 months, after the next 7 months, I have to do all this kind of rubbish. Okay. Okay, so invoice, CN, debit note, we understand already. Bear in mind, no more simply issue debit note. Okay? Everything, it should be related to your invoice. No longer debit note. Okay? I understand a lot of people, they used to it already. They separate, okay, the major income one, invoice. Okay? Not the major income one, debit note. Right? Transport charges is debit note. Because that one is not the major income. They used to it already. Even though that is also their income. Transport charges is income, a kind of income. But they not issue invoice. They issue debit note. Right? But for invoice, no. Not acceptable. All the income, 100% e-invoice. That's why you no need the debit note anymore. You no need debit note anymore. Debit note is served for what purpose? Remember, if you got anything wrong in your invoice, then only you need the debit note to cover up only. Cover up your mistake. And your mistake must be undercode. Understand? The reason is just only one reason, undercode only. Or wrongly code. Understand? This is the purpose for the debit note only. In other words, to say that you will seldom to use debit note anymore. Okay? You will only to see is the invoice only. And maybe credit note. And even credit note also not so many. Understand? Especially the debit note is totally out. Clear, huh? Okay. Now, after all this, we come to the next one. See that? Refund note. Now, this one, I also, how to say that, from the very beginning, I also against of this procedure. Why do we need refund notes? Okay, similar to the invoice, we have to understand the logic first. We have to understand the purpose. The refund note is served for what? Okay, now, you see, now you sell to people, you issue invoice. Okay, now, you want to offer people, okay, discount allowed. You give 10% discount. You issue credit note. Correct? You issue credit note discount. Okay, fine. Now, this 10% discount, was it related to your refund note? It may yes, it may no. All it depends on the money, the monetary, whether that you really pay out the money or not for this discount. If you really pay in cash, in money terms, then you need this refund note. Okay? If you are not paying in cash in terms of money, you just contra with your accounts only, okay, then no need issue refund note. Understand or not? Now, the refund note is similar to your payment voucher. When you make money to people, definitely you have to issue payment voucher. Correct? So you already have the payment voucher. Why you still want the refund note? For what purpose? Honestly speaking, I against also. For what? I don't know. This is what their request. Okay? They want to capture. And then the refund note, they capture is not like your payment voucher. The thing is different. You see, what the payment voucher capture? The payment voucher capture is the money, your bank related, right? And the person who received the money, correct? Just like that only. But for the refund note, what they want to capture is similar to your e-invoice details. They must have that item. Okay? The details of the items. What items and what invoice number that you offer that discount. Okay? It's not only the bank or all this kind of thing. They want all these things. Okay? The refund note. And then I also feel that very confused because it seems like this refund note is quite similar to our credit note, correct?
Yeah. No one credit loan.
It's almost 100% the same, right? But why? It's because of the get involved of the money, the monetary issue. The CN is not get involved monetary. CN you can write off, right? With your just write off. It cannot perform to say that you got made payment, right? But refund note, although it is similar to the credit note, but it performs as a you make payment, you make cash payment. Okay? And if you say that I already issued payment voucher, and then why I need this one? Payment voucher and the credit note will be more than enough already, right? No. Payment voucher didn't capture the details of the transaction. My goodness. Ayo. Very grammar, you know. Very complicated, right? Understand that? The refund note. Okay? So, you see, when we do something, we have to understand first the reason behind why you need to do that. If you don't understand, just like other speakers say, you have to issue refund note, refund note. I also know refund note. But what does that mean, refund note? Refund note for what? Right? I already have the payment voucher, I already have the CN. For what? Because the refund note is consists of two, payment voucher and the CN into one. Okay? Into one. Get a point or not? Because now we separate the two, payment voucher and CN. Now refund note is combine these two into one. Understand or not? Okay. So similarly, for this one, you got no choice. You 100% you need to call out this one from your CN. Definitely it's from CN. Cannot from DN, right? Cannot be from invoice. Do you guys understand or not? Why only from the CN? It's because refund, right? Because of deduction, refund. The only possibility for the deduction is from the CN only. Cannot be from DN, cannot be from the invoice. And this is the reason. And the CN doesn't mean that it's 100% you make payment. It can be contra. Okay? So for those you make payment one, then you have to do this. Refund note. And this is what they want. Okay? But bear in mind one thing. This refund note will not take into our accounting. Not relevant to our accounting at all. This one is relevant to IRB only, the My Invoice portal. We just do submission for them only. Okay, in our accounting, you won't see this one. In your transaction accounting, you won't see this one. Do you need this one? For what purpose? You want to contra back, contra here, contra there. For what purpose? So for no purpose. What? E-billing module. Under e-billing module. Get the point? So for for accounting side, no worry about this, because this one won't take into your accounts. Okay, this one is similar like pro forma invoice lah. It's a separate and independent module. Okay, it won't link to your stock. It won't affect your stock, affect your accounting. No. Yeah, when you issue the credit note, then you have to put the NA if for the previous one. Okay. Yeah. No, I mean for the previous invoice. Okay. Yeah. This one, just now I missed out this part now. Okay, for example, now you create one. Right? Okay, for example, I don't have this one, right? Let me see where to input this one. I can't remember already where to put this one to become as a NA. Okay, the invoice will become NA. Okay, where to put this one? Wait, let me see. Maybe it's here. No, here. It's supposed to be here, if not mistaken. Let's say I reset. Okay. Here cannot insert. It's supposed to be here. Supposed to be here. Why how come here cannot? Never mind, I will check and then get back to you. Okay. This one is supposed to be NA because you don't have the UUID number. Before 1st of August, you don't have the UUID number. Okay, so you have to put NA, not applicable. Okay. That case is why we realize that case is because, as I told you, we do for our this Shipco company. They do have this kind of transaction. They have to match with their previous invoices, create CN. So that one is with special write a coding to insert the NA. But here, how to insert the NA, I have to find out first. This is the new things. Okay. Maybe you can ask other people and see they know or not. Okay. Okay. So we're back to the refund note. So refund note that we know that we have to call out from the CN only, right? So we just call from the CN. Okay. We just call out from the CN will do. Then you can see the item code. See that? This is what they want. They want to capture all this. Okay, and the payment that you make to them, for example, you make to them is 90 cents. Okay, so you just put 90 cents only. This is the money that you want to refund to them. Okay. 90 cents only. Just like that only. Okay, then you no need to do anything. That's all. So simple, so straightforward. Then you click this one, submit. Successful. See that? The invoice tab also e-invoice. Okay, it won't show as refund note. It still show as e-invoice tab. Okay, and this one, now this one is in progress. Still in progress, submitted. Okay, then we have to wait. We have to wait.
So please let me clarify. In a CN, so credit note. So we have to call for the original invoice. But in this case, the amount of CN cannot exceed the original invoice amount.
Yes, definitely. You cannot assist. You cannot more than the invoice amount. There's no logic at all.
No logic at all. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
But in this case, there's some additional refund. For instance,
Yes,
we should
valid already.
pay with some penalty or something.
Access payment. Payment. As I say that one is access payment or advance payment. Okay, that one is not related to income because the access payment, the advance payment is not a kind of income. It's just a payment received in advance only. You just issue normal official receipt, plug into your account. You got two ways. One is you just official receipt, you receive additional. Then your account, your debtor account will show in negative, right? That one is show that you're owing them. They got extra payment. Another one is the old method lah. The normal practice for the auditor they prefer in this way is this access payment they will take up. Okay, they will take up and then they put under the prepayment account. Okay, but that one is not advisable lah. To them it's okay because they audit, they want to see the presentation is much more easier. Just one title, prepayment, okay, advance payment. But to us, we want to trace who make the extra payment. You want to know. So normally we forget about the auditor. We just do our way is receive from that customer and we will show in negative. Whatever they do the adjustment, we're not going to follow their adjustment. Understand or not? Because this is for our in-house internal purposes, we need to trace. Okay? It's correct one. Doesn't matter one. No need to follow the adjustment. Certain adjustment no need to follow one. Okay? Okay? Yes? Very good question. Okay. Normally, the CN amount should be the refund note amount. Correct? But sometimes, it's not in that case. Yes, you are right. Very good question. Okay? You discount, you CN. CN, you may have two types of scenario. One is you discount a lot. And then one is maybe is return, goods return, right? Under the same CN. So you make payment, maybe it's for the good return. Then you contra the discount a lot. Discount is discount. You contra with the sales. You not make payment. Okay? You not make the refund payment. Okay? But you make refund payment is made for that stock return. Maybe it's damages, due to damages, okay, whatever reason. So the discount maybe is let's say 10 ringgit, but stock return is 50 ringgit. So your CN is 60, but your refund note is 50 only. It may be different. Yes. It may not 100% equal. Depends on your CN. It can be the same. It can be different. Understand or not? Need. Payment voucher have to. Payment voucher is definitely whatever the money out, you need to issue payment voucher. Okay, so CN got 2, you issue 50 only. Payment voucher out 50. Refund note is 50. But the CN is 60.
Maybe they pay twice.
Hmm.
They pay twice. For that second amount that we want to pay back to them, does not need refund. Only EDP, right?
Okay, good question. Now you see, currently for the refund note, as I mentioned, you have to call out from the CN, right? So if you want to refund to people, in terms of they pay extra, right? They wrongly make payment, you want to refund them. Do you issue CN or not? No. Then without the CN, you cannot issue refund note. Right? Yeah. Just like that. Because this is their requirements. Their requirements is that the refund note must have the CN, UUID. If they didn't say that, then it's different story. Okay?
Any case, the CN should be issued hard pass.
Yes. Yes.
So that we can call off the.
Yes.
We can make
yes.
refund note.
Now this one is because of, as I said, that we have to understand the purpose behind. Okay? The refund note is they want to capture that they don't want you to simply say that, oh, I return. Okay? And you deduct the sales. Now their purpose is they don't want you to simply reduce your sales. Right? And you claim that I return, I refund, I make payment, whatever. They don't want to be like that. But for your scenario, it's different issue. That one is not related to the sales. So you can direct issue payment voucher out. Okay. Actually, you should ask, because we haven't go to that part, the self-bill invoice. In fact, for her scenario is, do we need to issue self-bill invoice because we pay them, we refund to them, right? They didn't provide invoice. But for this scenario, it's no need self-bill. Okay? It's more relevant is the self-bill lah. But actually, it's no need. Okay? Not at all. Understand? Invoice, CN, debit note, refund note. Very clear, right? All the details I already highlighted to you. Okay. So you got any question? Better you ask. So when we look at all this, if I didn't say that, you may not to know, right? You may say that, oh, so simple, only we just call out, then save, submit, finish. Yes.
So one issue that, for example, the invoice 1,000, at that particular case for the CN.
No, as I say, that refund is related to the money, cash. If you really pay out in cash, in money, then only refund. Without the cash one, contra one, no need. Okay. Now another issue that just now you did mention one. What about I issue the invoice 1,000, e-invoice successful already. Okay. Then the customer reject because it should be 900 only within 72 hours. Within 72 hours, they reject. Then I cancel, I make cancellation, and I edit, I resubmit the invoice, correct? Then from 1,000 become 900. I don't have any credit note, but I still have to refund 100. Get it? This is also the refund. Get it? Before that, you issue 1,000. A customer make 1,000 already. But within 72 hours, customer realized that, hey, this is not correct. It's supposed to be 900 only. How come? Yes. You are always responsible for the rejection. Okay. So you reject within 72 hours. So I have to make it correct. I make cancellation. And then I edit, update the invoice and resubmit for the invoice and become 900. From 1,000 become 900. Okay? Because within 72 hours. So I no need to issue credit note. So now I don't have credit note. But I still pay you 100. I have to refund in cash 100. Because of you overpaid, right? Overquote you, right? So how? Do you think about that? So you see, all this is the real scenario, you see. So without the CN, now you make payment refund. Do you need the refund note or not? Now, to IRB, they never mention that whether this is access payment or whatever. What they concern is you refund. Refund. The word refund. Whether it is access or not access, okay? Or you refund. Refund can be due to returns something or discount something or access payment something, right? For any types of reason, they don't care. What they concern is refund. And this is the real refund. It's actually, yes, you are refunding. Right? Yes. Yes. Okay. Now you see, this scenario, the IRB, I can say that they never cover this area. Because why? The refund note need from the CN. Huh?
So we have to create this.
So now the thing is, you want to create CN or not? Because according to the rules, you are nothing wrong. You can make changes within 72 hours without CN. Right? But they can claim that this is a refund. Right? So in this scenario, if you really make refund, then you have to create CN. You don't just edit only. You have to use your CN. Then you got CN, then you can do the refund load. You see? They will twist. They will twist. But the actual scenario is not necessary. Because you allowed me to edit, to update what? Within 72 hours. Now, you see? It's very tricky. Right? Yes. At least today you know. Nobody will talk to you like this. Nobody can answer you. Ah. 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 Yes.
So we have to still do the refund.
Ah.
But for that we need to create.
Yes.
And then the refund.
Yes.
So amend by the invoice. Only we can stop.
Yes, if you want to issue refund note, you must have the CN.
Then what if it offers 72 hours?
It's definitely you have to issue CN. Now what we concern,
The original invoice is 1,000. We check, we already amend to 900. So we want to refund 100.
yes,
So now, in order to refund the 100, the invoice need to be 1,000 again. Additional CN 100.
Huh?
Is it?
No, you already added what? You already updated to 900 what? How come that your invoice can be 1,000 again?
I update to 900.
Ah.
Then if I want to do refund,
That's why this is the reason that I say that lah. Okay, if you do this, if you update become 900, okay, means that you cannot issue the refund note lah. Because without the CN what, right? Then later they will come to you lah. They will ask you lah, and then you will feedback to them, say that you allow me 72 hours to update what, right? I can update what. Then they also can feedback to you. Are you refund the cash? Yes, I refund. Then if you refund, why you didn't issue refund note? Then you say that no CN, and then they ask you why you cannot issue CN. You can, but why you don't want? Then how you? So they can twist. So now this is a gray area, you know. If you ask me, how am I going to answer you yes or no? I only can stand in the middle only. Maybe yes, maybe no. You see? They can twist. Because you have the right to issue CN. And you are able to issue CN. And why not you issue CN, they ask you. And then how are you going to answer? Because you allowed me to update what? Within 72 hours. What should I issue CN? Right? It's true also. But another fact is you refund in cash, in monetary. You refund in monetary. And this is the fact. If without this one, then acceptable. Right? But now the thing is, the fact is you refund. So now what they concern is whatever refund in monetary, you need refund note. And the thing is, issue refund note, you must have the CNUU ID. Oh. Understand or not? Now, I know that after today, you're still very confused, but later you're, Mr. Wong not here already. Oh, blur already. For sure, you're confused one. That's why I say that why I don't want to be so early to provide training. You got another 7 months to go. When the times come, you forgot everything already. Then I die again. That time I have to charge already.
Okay. No logic. Actually, I think help the customer. We just offset in the future like your money. You the invoice.
Yes.
Offset it.
Yes.
The invoice is to capture our income.
Yes.
So next time I sell you goods, so that is the amount is more. Then
yes. Just like that day in Penang, I go to the economy rice. Okay, they asked to pay 20 over something, but my wife go to pay 40 over, then over 20 something ringgit. In fact, he must refund immediately, right? And then he hold on, he said that no refund. You come next round, I will contra.
I think it's similar like GST time lah. We are not allowed to issue.
Yes.
So what we do is offset in the future.
Offset in the future, right?
You buy from me. Buy a little bit isn't never mind. Just enough the money.
Okay. Now it's 3:30. Okay. We take a break for a while. 10 minutes. Okay.
Do we have a Q&A session? Q&A session, right? Okay.
Then later we will continue the purchase side for the self-bill invoice already.
Okay.
Oh. No, in fact, the system will send automatically when it get valid. You no need to worry that. No need. No. Real time lah. Actually, even though you no need to send to your customer, also no problem because the IRB already sent to them. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, I have to stop the video first.